And we should shout out to Bruno, who's joined us right from the start. He's our #1 fan. No, we have people jump in and out. No.
To my knowledge.
He said soon after the stuff that he's going to track. And then took off. Would have been minutes. So it would have been, the fight was over, situation under control. Then Leiden would have said, okay, I'm not wasting time, I'm going to track.
Possible. So there will be townies running around.
Okay.
Hold on, technical. Yeah, I think the I think the touchpad is actually easier.
Well, too bad.
Yeah, this wheel isn't very responsive. Right. Okay, so Dustin's staying up. Everybody else is trying to get some shut-eye.
I will volunteer to join the guard rotation as necessary. I think Murdoch was doing that initially.
Murdoch and Reno were standing watch while you guys were in the meeting.
Well, we don't want to just leave him out there, so we'll definitely let him know what's going on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you guys got to fill them in. Not that there's a lot to fill in, but
There's too much. I sum up.
indeed.
Just so I can get Leodin's fatigue correct. After the fight and after the travel and all that sort of stuff, when Leodin set out, how much fatigue would he have been down?
I don't think you should be down any, because you only go down a fatigue in a combat if it lasts longer than 10 rounds, right?
No, you get the fatigue. Wait. Thought you get that anyway.
No,
I think you do, but it hits you after, during combat. It hits you after the 10 rounds. I think that's how it works.
No, I don't remember.
After every combat, I believe you get fatigue, but
Before I forget, I actually I found the bit in the basic book about area, and a 1 yard radius is 1 hex. It is the hex you're standing in. A 2 yard radius is the hexes around you. So the way that Fantasy Grounds draws the circles is wrong. So they're all like one too many. I know that question came up at one point.
No, page 426. Any battle that lasts more than 10 seconds will cause fatigue.
Ah.
And then it's based on your encumbrance level, actually.
encumbrance +1.
No encumbrance 1, light encumbrance 2, medium 3, heavy 4, extra heavy 5. The day is hot, add 1 to the fatigue, or 2 for anyone in plate.
So you guys won't take any fatigue for the battle beyond what you spent during the battle. And everybody is going to be at -1 for sleep by that point.
So overall, we are -1 fatigue.
You are at least -1. And that is LFP. So, with that, we got a couple of you on guard rotation, and otherwise everybody's trying to catch some Z's. When are you gonna get up and around, do you expect? You just wake up at sunup or try to get a full 8?
We're probably going to be up at sunup. We're in a farming community.
Alright, so that means you're probably gonna get about 5 hours worth, assuming you sleep.
In chat.
No, Getwell will be up.
Only if he's forcibly
Getwell
awake.
will be up.
He will be directly interrupted.
Got
Okay.
time for those slackers.
Laden.
Everything went green. Does that mean Laden's sick?
That means he's in the trees.
Yep, you're sick. You're about to die. It's terrible. Poisoned!
Eh. Well, he didn't wake him up yet. All right. So, Laodin is, if I am guessing correctly here, Laodin is going to go to where he last saw them and start tracking from there.
Yes, he will be stealthy all the way.
Okay, so to set this... Damn it. Yeah, it's going to be one of those days. Reminder. Alright, so Laodin is on the other side of the river. So it is still under new moon. It is -8 darkness. Laodin with his night vision of 5 basically sees it like a full moon. So he's not really all that bothered by the darkness. It is still foggy out, 200-yard visibility. It is also cold, because it's early spring and it's cold in the middle of the friggin' night. You will be moving through woodland. That is 0.5x movement. I'm just considering it moderate because it's kind of off and on. As you can see, there's a lot of open field and then interspersed with thicker wood.
If survival woodlands helps negotiate the woods, then there's the roll.
Not aware of anything. Alright, so we're going to start you at 0-2. You're -1 fatigue for the sleep. And I need to do a thing.
Do the thing.
And then promptly ignore it. Okay, so movement speed. You are move 7 normally. You've got move 8 because of the haste, which gets you a normal 4 miles an hour. You've got the 0.5 on the terrain, which gets you 2. Now, beyond that, if you are tracking, you're going to do that at half speed, which will be no modifier on the tracking. Or you can do it at full move and take the -5. So
But
-5.
I get +10 to track a large group, right?
Well, that's beside the point. I've got that figured over here. It is much easier to track a group.
Then Laodin will go his full speed. He figures he'll catch the other group much quicker than they move.
But bear in mind, you've got other penalties here too. You've still got -3 for darkness and other stuff. So,
well, I should be at, like, if I'm tracking at my feet, you know, in the couple of hexes around me, the darkness penalty should be nearly 0.
No.
No, because you don't have any light down there.
Right.
Not unless you're glowing, and I didn't know it.
No, my bad.
Dude, can you glow?
So it's -5 -3, so -8 plus 10. I'll go with that.
So you're going to take the full move.
Yep.
All right. Now that will also apply to your stealth if you're doing stealth. Maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't. But
It's a -5 on stealth.
Yep. Very handy, that. Okay. So you will be moving then at 2 miles an hour. Established. All right. Now I am going to do a bunch of rolling. And we will sort that part out. So first off, we need a hiking skill. Since you are doing the full move.
Not hiking.
Do it?
Not hiking.
You're just not rolling.
Correct.
So be it. Next is tracking. So, just make the roll. I've already got the mods down here. Processing. Okay. All right, and I need a navigation. And I believe you have a compass, so that will be at no penalty. Oh.
No,
That's not good.
that's
Well-
awesome.
Yeah, but here's the question for you. Why does he need to be bothered navigating if he's tracking somebody? He's not following.
Don't. I got this covered. I have madness, but there's method as well. All right, and one more. I need perception. Wow, well, you got that covered. All right, and that is okay. So, you get across the river and find the spot where you saw them last. And you start digging around for the tracks, and you do end up, it's a little harder than you were expecting. It looks like elvish boots. They have this sort of tread pattern that they typically build into Elvish boots that makes that disrupts the pattern of the footprints and makes them harder to track. And this looks kind of like that, but like a bit more crude, like not actually Elvish, but somebody's copying the idea.
Leadon will think to himself, amateurs.
And then promptly gets lost.
And then we go into full-on Last of the Mohicans mode as he starts trucking through the brush at more or less full tilt. He's not having too much trouble following the tracks. He keeps losing it here and there, but he'll pick it back up. It's going a little more slowly than he would like. He notices that the tracks seem to be moving quickly and more or less in single file. So it looks like there's almost a path here that they're using. Like they've done this a lot of times and they're very practiced at it.
All right, are we talking that they've done it so many times they've left a path in the wood, or they're just following a standard operating procedure?
They're following an SOP. That would be your conclusion. No, that would be way too easy if they had actually had a beaten path there. In fact, you'd probably guess afterward that they go to great lengths to avoid doing that. About 30 minutes into the tracking, you start getting raindrops.
Alright, Leadon will continue. He's not afraid of the rain.
Yeah, but
And
that's
he-
gonna blot out tracks.
And he'll shout out to Truck Dog, or Dog, who's joined us in the chat.
Howdy.
Hello.
I've got a bit of image lag. I keep forgetting. Image. You're in the woods. Okay, and you have gone about 1.5 miles when you come upon... Not that one. Damn it, which image is that? Somebody tell me.
Not that one. No, not that one either. Maybe that one.
I don't think you're right.
The one on the left.
No, the other left. Yeah, that one.
You arrive at what is very clearly a campsite of some kind. So,
Which has logos and stuff on it.
ignore that. That's not there.
You should crop those.
I didn't feel like it.
Lazy GM.
So here, you may roll tracking again to see what you determine, or are you going to, let me rephrase that, are you going to spend any time going over this campsite?
Is it an abandoned campsite?
There is nobody home.
That he can see. There might be ninjas.
Does the fire pit have a fire in it?
There is no fire. That is, there is no fire burning.
Leadon will do a...
Give it a once over.
No, he's going to go around the camp. He'll just go around the perimeter. He's not entering the camp. He wants to see if there's tracks. So the tracks lead directly here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
they very clearly went into the camp.
He is going to look around to see if, just going to walk around the camp to see if the tracks leave here.
They do indeed. Looks like a lot of them, maybe some extras. And they proceed off, continuing to the northwest.
So more people joined the party.
You would guess that there were some here at the camp and they joined the party as they left. Something that you will notice as you circle the camp, at least, is that the size of the camp probably would be more fitting for a couple of dozen, not 3.
It's not the size of the camp, it's what you do with it.
Okay. And Leodin will then continue on following the tracks.
All right.
Looking back to the camp one last time, just to see if there's anything particular he might have missed.
So this will put us around 2:30. All right. And you continue on. So, let's see. I'll go down the list here. Murdoch. Give me an obstacle that Leodin has to overcome as he's trucking it down this trail. But it's not bandits.
You mean not a Malay?
Right.
Okay, they set a trap. Because
What
they
kind of a
know
trap?
They may be tracked. It's a trap that would get a tracker. It's a tripwire.
All right. Leodin can give me a perception, -3 for the darkness. Probably. How difficult would that be?
Nice.
Oh, and by this point, the rain is definitely coming down. And you know well enough that this is going to start screwing with the tracks. Taking the edges off.
If
Just
that's
for
the
the record.
case, then Leodin's going to start marking his trail.
For the record, that was totally a tarot card draw. I didn't. That wasn't deliberate. And FYI, I learned that it can actually rain in the middle of a big ass fog, and it will not wipe the fog away.
True.
Let's see. So yeah, you trip over a tripwire on your way, and you just dump. Apparently, it was just meant to slow you down, but you feel really stupid. Actually, give me a acrobatics or dex check. See if you can come off looking cool.
Oh, yes.
You look
Yeah,
damn
no one-
cool.
Yeah, but no one saw it, so.
You totally ninja rolled.
What's the point of a trap that does nothing?
Hey, I didn't make it up. I just figured it'd slow you down.
Fair enough. Seems silly. Let's take the time to make this tripwire trap that does nothing.
Would you rather me stab you?
Yes.
Okay, it totally whacks you in the leg.
Just
Causing
lay
you
it
to
in,
trip and fall, but you ninja roll up.
That's true. Yeah, so you just skirted.
and get a dodge.
I'll let your dex check stand there. That would have dodged.
Alright. Laden will check the trap and he'll say, clever.
Boy, if I wasn't running so fast, I would have seen that. Also, by this point, you are going to be down one fatigue, or one more fatigue, for lack of sleep.
Laden will take a 5-minute break and chew on some lamnus bread.
Well, this is lack of sleep. This isn't exertion.
Fair enough.
I assume he's going to take a break now and again for that. Let's see. So another hour goes by, and Dustin, give me a little obstacle that Laodin has to overcome. Does not necessarily have to be hostile.
The trail leads to the edge of a stream, 5 yards wide.
Ah,
No sign of boats.
5 yards. That's fairly sizable. It's going to be wider than that one, though. All right, so
That one's jumpable there.
yeah. So the question is, can he jump a 5-yard stream, or does he have to tromp through it?
He could actually jump a 5-yard stream. With move 8, easy.
Yeah. What's his broad jump?
It'll be 8, won't it?
Not
If he takes a running jump.
exactly. Let's see. What is his? I don't remember how that works. What's his? Does he have jumping skill?
No.
Then it goes off a base move. So he can get 4 yards in 1 foot. Oh, and then the yard's moved. If he gets a full run up. Yeah, that'll clear it. With plenty to spare.
They took a latrine break on the far side. Happy landings. Just kidding.
So.
But he will fail his dex roll to jump it.
I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it.
No, he made the jump with plenty to spare, but with the rain and the mud on the other side, he slips. He's going to be...
forward or back?
He's going to be looking like a Dutch and Predator at the end of this.
Laden will just pick himself up, dust himself off, Boo's brother's style.
A little bit further in, he realizes that this trail that he's following on the other side of the stream is old and is a distraction, was actually not a real trail, that they probably dog-legged it up the stream a bit. So he backtracks.
There's your navigation fail.
No, that's not a navigation fail. That's a tracking fail. And again, he figures if this were daylight, he totally would have spotted that. And if he weren't going at full tilt.
I must be catching him though, because Leyden moves a lot faster than anyone else. At Leyden's speed, I'd imagine he'd be on them within an hour. Because he left right after the battle.
I would say he does find that somewhat disturbing. Or irritating, maybe, is the word, that he hasn't come upon them yet.
Very well. Well, Leyden will backtrack and then check north and south of the exits of the stream.
And he does find the actual trail. Very clearly the real one.
One of them clearly left MRE thing. Or the equivalent.
Let's see. And he continues on for another hour. So at this point, it will have been a total of 3 hours tracking. Or thereabout. And it was right about that time that he just caught movement way out there, like almost at the edge of the fog. Bit of shadows that he sees as the trees part before him. He starts to see some firelights out ahead, multiple of them.
Okay, well he will push on a little bit more cautious, and he'll probably slow down if he's at the edge of their sort of movement. And he will be looking for the rear guard. Of course, being stealthy as he goes. His intention is not to engage unless he's discovered.
So as he gets closer, he can start to make out what looks like a palisade, maybe guard towers or something like that. These guys have clearly stopped at the gate and gone in, or something like that. He's still kind of shadowy out to that distance, but he can see it a lot better than anyone else can. A lot better than they can. And as he closes in, There is very clearly a camp. And a fortified one.
And we're looking at like more than 100.
You would guess 100, maybe 2. And yeah, you had just barely caught up to the guys that were running away, which you're figuring those guys were not that fast. They just knew where they were going. And how long do you spend watching the camp?
I'll spend an hour.
All right.
What's the rain doing?
It's still raining like cats and frickin' dogs. Not quite a full-on downpour, but enough to make you damned uncomfortable.
Nah, Layden lives in the woods.
Yeah, but he doesn't live in the cold. Back in Elfwood, it doesn't get this cold.
It's alright. It would have washed off all the mud and stuff. And his hair will be pristine and clean again. He'll do the whole hair whip.
Let's see, what time is it? It's gonna be...
Yeah, so Layden will spend an hour and he'll just do a trek around the camp to see if there's any sort of roads or stuff like that.
Ah, okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check. See if you make a fool of yourself. Well, you seem relatively confident in that you stayed behind cover the whole time. They can't possibly see that. You know how much of an advantage you have with your eyesight. And yeah, you can see some paths here and there. Some of them more well-worn than others. But there's not much activity inside the camp. They're probably sleeping or whatever. Very obviously got a guard rotation going, plenty of fires and that sort of thing. About halfway into that hour, the rain finally slacks off, but the damage is done, and you are soaked through. Right, what's the plan now?
Well, after some reconnaissance, he will follow his trail back.
Or what he thought was his trail back.
Layden was marking the trail.
Yeah, he thought he had. Whatever it was, he marked it with, he wasn't able to find it again.
So, like, a chip out of the bark of a tree has been fixed.
Not that it's been fixed, is some hours later you're going to realize that that tree that you looked at may have had a chip in it that kind of looked like the one that you, or something, because you definitely went the wrong damn way coming back.
It's like you critically failed a navigation check.
Kind of like you critically failed a navigation check.
I don't know, marking a trail is not navigation though.
But you critically failed navigation.
Yeah, but if I put a flag every 5 meters, I don't need a map and compass to follow flags back. I might not know where I am. Anyway, go on. Alright.
It would aid you tracking yourself back, for sure.
Lairden will track back.
Anyway, he's just going to be slower getting back. Is he just going to go straight back?
Yeah, it
That's the
stands
claim.
to reason. What occurs to me is it's just he thinks that tree there is the one that he marked, and it wasn't.
Yeah, but
Like
that's
maybe
not
there's been
navigation.
somebody else.
That's like perception and
That is
stuff.
land navigation. That is what that is.
I've done land navigation, and I've never had to factor marking trees.
Yes, because you were always running in the rain at dark.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever it was.
Lairden will head back.
Wait, no. Yeah, something, it was, because it was a critical fail, basically, something unlucky happened to your markings and you ended up off the trail. That's how it went. Regardless, so it's going to take you a little bit longer to get back once you realize you've gone the wrong way a bit. You probably hit the river, and you can see that, holy crap, you're way off. The village is way up there. But it's about an hour after you leave the camp area that the sun starts coming up, and another hour and the fog burns off, and then another hour after that you finally get back to friggin' camp, or back to the village.
Lairden will wash himself clean in the river. So when he comes back to the river, he'll be wet but clean.
Hey, give me a universe roll.
That's right, you're going to get attacked by a river kraken. How's it feel, buddy? Yep, here comes the river kraken.
You see one of those helmets float down the river.
Is
With no-
Lairden's arrow still stuck in him?
No, you just see the helmet. You have no idea where the body is that previously wore that helmet.
That's unusual. Helmets float.
Well, it clearly caught an air pocket as it came off.
Well, Lairden will finish up and head back to the village.
You know what? You totally should have used a plot point.
Bah.
Yeah,
Burn
it's
that
done.
all.
All right. So yeah, back to the village. So everybody went to sleep except for Kenrick and,
Oh, I got some sleep.
well, he got some sleep. Dustin stayed up the whole time.
Yes.
All right.
What's Lairden's fatigue at from lost sleep?
So both of you will be down 3 long term.
All right.
Who is both of...
Dustin and Laodin.
Ah,
Now, those of you that got some sleep are probably still going to be down. I'm going to say at least 1. And you guys will have been awakened at sunrise, or thereabout. And shortly after that, as the people start getting around, some of the councilmen find you and say that we're about to send the runner.
Yes, well, I've got my letter thing that I'm gonna pin. And
So,
man, we don't know that Laodin is it. Man, I wish we knew more from Laodin.
figured he would have been back by now. Maybe he got
He
lost.
said he'd be back by the morning. When he left, he said that he'd be back in the morning.
So they'll take you over to the church and provide you with some writing materials so you can write the letter. And the Master Walder is there to lend his quote-unquote support.
That's the Reeve?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Marthin is also there, kind of half asleep, although getting somewhat more excited as time comes to start running again. Tell me about your letter, and is anybody else contributing?
I am revising my letter now.
Right, you actually did that already, didn't you?
Yeah, sort of.
Will Laodin make a appearance in the next 2 minutes?
Probably not the next two.
Alright, AFK for a sec.
Yeah, it's basically that. I'm just changing the thing to, rather than saying that we're going to march to, hey, we're going to wait until our scout comes back to let us know whether we should march or whether we should hold here. But I probably will still include yeah, it'd be great if you could send some troops here, just in case.
Indeed. You know what? For the sake of the stream, why don't you cut and paste that and put it in here so it can be seen?
I'm in the process of rewriting elements.
Good thinking.
I should have started it earlier. So, okay thinking.
Meanwhile, as Marthin will find Dustin and say, Master Wizard, make me fast.
So you want to run fast, huh?
All right, so we beat him up and take his lunch.
I'll do a 3-point haste on him.
Is it going to be haste or is it going to be the overland travel thing?
It's going to be the haste. Remember, we have to crash after the overland travel thing, which just happened to work out last time, but is not going to be universally convenient.
Yeah. But if you're just going to drop that on him, once he runs to the Arl and goes, here's the letter. Doesn't mean we have to run.
Oh, yeah, okay. You make a good point. I will cast Quick March on him. Or whatever it was.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it was Quick March.
I wonder if you can actually do that ritually so you can use the symbol drawing, or how that would affect the casting of it. I don't know. I guess I got used to the weaving, the RPM, and because you're using symbol drawing for that all the time, just kind of figured it went both ways.
That's sort of what I was going with. I don't know what the proper header and proper closing stuff is. Oh, hey, I know. Yes, well, he does.
You did it right, whatever it is. Yeah, I was wondering, as you mentioned that before, that whether or not he would have any sort of signet, but probably not, since he doesn't have an actual title. That is Kenrick.
Nope.
Actually, Reyna might have one. Won't necessarily.
Going to end up having something made for the company.
Well, that's true. That's probably going to have to happen.
Yeah, but if anybody has suggestions on how to revise and change that, then we shall revise and change that.
All right. Well, with that, the letter is written and given to Marthin. And Marthin the Swift. And he, with a big cheese-eating grin on his face, takes off.
Run like the wind, boy.
And boy, he was fast, too.
I'm telling you, that kid's got legs like tree trunks.
And you know that's probably only going to take him an hour and a half to get there at this speed.
He's all Speedy Gonzalez. No, he's that dude. I don't remember his name. He's the guy in the freaking fantastical movie. Damn it, what's the name? Bere Munchausen.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I was thinking of that.
Okay, so that's what, probably 30 minutes in. And Laodin still has not returned. And there is still a fog. That's another one of those movies I keep meaning to watch again. Okay, so
It's clearly Marthin the Swift in a couple of years.
yeah, after one too many castings of Haste and whatnot, it just kind of sticks.
It becomes permanent.
So, Getwell has to be forcibly roused.
Get up, brother. No time for sleeping. And these people are automatically presuming that we're going to be attacked. The locals.
That is the murmur going around.
Well then, we need to start helping them set up some defenses just in case.
So let's see, what is everybody planning to do for the day? Assuming that A, there is a fight inbound, and B, in the event that nothing actually happens, what are you doing?
Okay, I have no idea what that did. That was weird.
What are you trying to do there, Mark?
Make you as wrapping.
Yeah, he's apparently completely incapable of getting up. Get up, get up, get up. Ridge, Ridge, Ridge.
What were you trying to do?
I have no idea. I just clicked and all of a sudden all that just popped up.
Bilatti's fuging.
That's weird.
Yeah, well, I don't have any necessary skills for it other than maybe tactics, but I just wanted to, try to help them set up some sort of, various defenses.
All right. Oh, by the way, Aiden did stand watch through the night as well. So he says, I'll let you guys handle this for now. He's going to take a nap.
That's kind of what Dustin's thinking too.
Yeah, I should let him take Getwell's spot so Getwell can't just go back to sleep. How convenient. Getwell, man, brother Getwell, kept that area warm for you. Come along, brother. Yeah, I'm clearly going to have to make sure to keep Getwell upright, aren't I?
How about Raina?
I'm going to...
Raina is going to help out with some of the villagers' chores just to kind of get to know them a little bit. And then she will spot some town children playing a game of football, like UK football, like soccer. And she will steal away to go join them, being the scrappy tomboy that she is.
Ah. Working the crowd.
That way it'll be even more tragic for her when some of them are murdered in the ensuing fight.
Shut up.
See, Dustin is sleeping the day away for the most part.
Yes.
How about Murdoch?
We doing anything about preparing for an assault?
Kenrick is looking around for ways to set up some kind of defense.
Yeah, I think I need to be working on a strategy. So I'll make a default roll at some point in this to assist.
Is make you turning into Hodor?
Apparently so.
That is so weird. I have no idea where that even's coming from.
Hodor.
Uh-huh. Hold the door! Wait, now we gotta figure out what ridge means.
Rid the place of badgers.
All right, so about an hour after sunrise, the fog finally burns away, and by that point you've gotten a better look at the town, and because when you got here it was already sundown, and it's pretty small overall, and looks like newish construction. Like maybe it's not been around for but a couple of years. 3 years.
I'm sure I'm probably walking along with the Reeve. I'll ask him about the newish construction.
Which, yeah, he'll say that yeah, this was a new town. It's only built a few years ago. Right at the crossroads in between a couple of larger trade hubs. Everyone was expecting it to take off, and well, I suppose it still could.
That's accurate.
Assuming everyone isn't, killed tonight.
Assuming.
Okay, and let's see. You can make. Well, actually, no. What kind of defense are you thinking about?
And
everybody's welcome to pitch in here.
I honestly have no idea.
Because you couldn't keep
big enough to, you couldn't keep a cow out of it.
You couldn't keep a cow out of this place, and there's barely a man between 15 and 50. In fact, there are no men between 15 and 50.
That's not true.
Aside from yourselves,
I know 3
and a couple of them. For example, the patron sermon, who is total nonviolent, and Walder, who looks like he's about to break and run pretty much anytime somebody says boo.
Well, until we know more, I'm not really sure. Because they could really use a fence, but they're not going to have a fence. Sorry, not a fence, a wall.
Well, what kind of clues do you have so far?
Not a whole lot, actually. We're waiting for our elf scout to come back and say there's a lot of them.
Well, you know that they shot fire arrows into the town, so they're probably going to have archers.
Yeah, that's true. I'd actually probably would. Crap, the elf's not here. Do they have a Boyer Fletcher in here, or a huntsman, or anything like that? Because
they do not.
Okay, so well, at least retrieve a couple of the now burned out fire arrows and hold on to them until Leodin gets back, and then maybe have him take a look at them, see if he can find anything out about it. They also operated more out of stealth than a full frontal assault. And frankly, Kendrick wasn't particularly impressed with their fighting ability. So definitely need to make sure that they have stuff to put out fires all over the place. Yeah, exactly like Mark says. Buckets of water and stuff all around. Fortunately, it's just been raining, so the thatch is not exactly going to be dry.
You also have at least anecdotal evidence that reprisals have occurred to other villages, and that those were in force and overt, I suppose.
Are there any people who have first-hand observation of this?
The people you have talked to have not.
Well, I will ask Reeve if he knows of anybody, and then if he does, I would like to talk to them.
Well, let's see. The Reeves says yes, there is. Old man Bones over there. He came from Farmville. Fled there just before it got hit.
Well, I'd like to speak to Old Man Bones. And I'm also curious why he's called that.
He takes you to see an old man, and he is an old man, and he is also very skinny. And as he's asked, he will say, "Yes, he did see that night. The red glowing eyes pouring out of the woods from across the river. Hundreds of them, maybe many hundreds. You're not entirely sure if you should believe this, but it was at night. It was in the mist."
Always with the mist. So, they used the mist to conceal their proper numbers and to conceal the fact that they are not goblins. I feel shenanigans are about. Oh wait, my dude has an IQ of 10. He might not suspect shenanigans are about.
It's average. Since oh, that was you. Yeah, since you mentioned the horses, he said no, they didn't have no cavalry that he saw.
But it was definitely at night. Okay, with that in mind, we absolutely have to make sure that we have light capabilities scattered around the village. Let's see. Do we have any trappers that are in the town? Gentleham? Because that might be a valid option. Like, set up a crapload of traps over there in that area where the archers were lurking. Probably won't do a whole lot, but it could irritate them somewhat, slow them down a bit.
No trappers. There is a furrier, but he's supplied hides from elsewhere.
Wow, this village really is kind of hurting, isn't it?
And the furrier is also in the militia.
So he's not here.
Yeah, they're kind of screwed by that.
Damn it, I don't know what kind of tactical stuff is appropriate. Being, I'm not a TL4 Knigget.
Well, if you guys think of it like a fantasy movie.
In which case, we're going to have people. There's lots of trees. Gonna need to try to erect at least a rudimentary wall.
I don't want to build a fence. I'm not a farmer.
We'll need lookouts to inform us what direction and number they're coming from.
So you can set up spotting stations.
That's right. I feel like I have to set up signal stations, like I'm in a game where my archer is constantly insisting on that sort of thing.
There is a tower on the church.
It's
a bell tower. Might have to remove the bell. It's not very big.
Now that's totally where we're going to end up parking Lid, and he's going to be acting as our sniper.
He can snipe the machine gunner's nest.
That's right. Yes, we need a repeating crossbow up there.
We need a what?
A repeating crossbow.
A what?
Come on, can't dwarves spin that up?
I just wanted to make you repeat it.
It's going to be like that crappy crossbow in Hawk the Slayer.
That's right. It doesn't really work like that.
Hawk the Slayer.
God, could I make myself watch that?
No.
It could be useful.
No, it really can't.
I have it.
I could watch Hawk the Slayer 100 times. It is so bad, it's awesome.
It has been a really, really long time.
And I bet it hasn't. I bet it hasn't aged well.
Nope.
No, it was bad in the 80s when it hadn't aged well.
No, one of the ones that surprised me is I actually bought Dragon Slayer the other day on Amazon because I wanted to watch it, and Dragon Slayer really has not aged all that badly. I mean, the effects are kind of old, but the rest of it is still doable.
No, it's not actually the full movie. It's a lie. One of those.
I have the full one. In, I forget what format. MP4, I guess.
Yeah.
Well.
So, yeah, erecting some sort of wall. I'm not a trap guy.
Yeah, Murdoch just wants to pile stones on other stones.
Well, there are stones.
We could do some spiky barricades with wood.
Get some stakes going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly like at the entrances to town and like the major roads.
Yeah.
Oh.
We can stack up things like in the smaller entrances, like alleyways, to block them off to make it more difficult for people to slip in back ways.
I think Murdoch is just reduced to complaining about why the town doesn't have a roof over it.
Yeah. If this was a cave, I could totally figure this out.
What's required here is two-dimensional thinking, laddie.
But yeah, get the little wall thing there.
All right, so you can get some barricades going at least, something to slow them down. All right, well, tell you what, you can give me a tactics roll.
Great.
Or whatever you can find. Anybody else that has something you think can contribute to that effort?
Yeah, my tactics is 11. Unfortunately, I think I have the highest. And based on the crickets, I think that's true.
I suppose everybody can do IQ.
Unless they like critically fail like Murdoch did there.
That one doesn't count.
Tactics goes even worse.
What is tactics? It's minus what?
Yeah, I wouldn't try default tactics. I think that's going to be -6.
Yep, IQ -6 or strategy -6. Youch.
Wonder if he has anything.
I actually wonder now if strategy is not more appropriate.
Well, yes and no.
Well, regardless, both of my skills, both of the skills there are the same. They're both crap at 11.
Yeah, this situation's kind of a bit of both.
Yeah, but we want to do like I believe is that Gitwell that put that there. Yeah, try to close off those areas. I'm not sure if the top one is actually necessary. It doesn't look to me like that actually goes anywhere.
No, I guess you're right. That isn't.
No, there's a road up there.
There is.
There is.
I don't...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's there are trees there in the way, but there is a road going through.
Gotcha. Well, then I guess he's right. We do need it there. Then we want to make sure that there is water and stuff like buckets of water that are in easy access all around. We're gonna need multiple locations for fire for light. Also, should probably see how those things, see if those little doohickeys of theirs are still working. Because yeah, because if they work at all, then we should put them to our use.
Well, they're basically the equivalent of candles.
Which means they're not all that useful.
Probably good for signaling or maybe confusing the enemy.
Well, we want big fires like bonfire in the center. The nice thing is
I didn't think about it. Go ahead.
The thing about having had it just rained, we can almost cut off a whole entire approach by like digging a quick trench and setting fire to it. Spike it, dig a trench, and then poof, and then that the least
Yeah. Well, we also want to make sure to consult the town council people as well. I'd hate for us to decide we're gonna paint their town red and rename it Hell, and they not approve.
Could be funny. Gonna call a meeting.
But well, no, I'm presuming they're gonna be in the area, so it's like stop every now and then, and want to see one of them, see what they're thinking. What are the
okay.
shield things for, Mark?
Water. Or
Gotcha,
we could just say
gotcha.
that. No.
I hadn't thought of using the little fake light things as confusion or signals. I don't know if it'd work as a signal though, because they're the same
It depends.
color as those guys.
I mean, I'm probably
if you
overboard.
Yeah, that's
Hey.
So how exactly does that work? Those things
What?
work. Those
It's continual light.
stones. Okay. But you said it's only like a really small area.
Yeah, it's like a candle-sized continual light. It's like the minimum.
Yeah, I don't understand how that helps. But yeah, I'll totally keep one or two of those and maybe secure it to my hat.
Do we have any kind of way of rolling or determining what is their most likely avenue of approach?
Well, the tactics roll hasn't been made yet, probably because we're skittish about the die right now.
Nope.
But apparently, he can at least figure that they're going to come up one of the main roads probably, because they're clearly on the other side of the river, and they're going to have to cross the river. And
from that direction in the past, right?
Right, because the bridge is down there. They come from the west, somewhere in the west. So,
do you have the compass rose again?
Could sabotage the bridge.
I think he said it was a big stone bridge.
Hey, it is a big stone bridge.
And that's going to wreak havoc with any kind of...
Yeah, we don't want to ruin their possibility of actually...
Yes. If you mention the idea of tearing the bridge up, they're definitely going to
I wouldn't know how to
not want that.
Okay.
If we assume they're going to come that way, they can either come down the road or across the field.
Okay. The rest of what I was going to say is, okay, so last time they came across the bridge, but that was a small group. If they're going to try to move an entire force, they're not going to want to try to move that entire force across that bridge. So they're either going to cross the river some other way, which if they're not prepared for that, how do they do that? Or they're going to have to cross somewhere upriver or downriver and march in, which means they're either going to come from the north road or the south road.
Great.
So those are your more likely avenues of approach.
So least likely is the east road.
East road would be a little weird. They'd have to circle around the village and then come from the east.
Primary fallback point is the church, I'm guessing. It's probably the strongest constructed building.
Yeah. I definitely have to get with the patron and let him know that we're going to be relying on him for any wounded. That may be a lie, but that's okay.
Yeah.
No, if it's a lie, then I wouldn't tell it. So I'm clearly not lying. If we got any wounded, we're going to be coming in here. This will be the last stand.
Says,
Everything.
He prays to the gods it will not be full.
Indeed. That's the spirit. Slap him on the back and move on.
Wind is laid and return.
I'm about to get to that.
He never returns. He got eaten by a river kraken.
Recommendation?
That'd be hilarious.
Hate those river krakens.
We need tokens that are standard military map, icons. Rally point, defensive point, that kind of stuff.
We totally need that for the World War II stuff anyway. Actually, there was one point where I wanted to get all the standard battle unit. I don't think it's older than NATO, but yeah, that kind of stuff. What I really want to do is try and figure out a way to do the directional arrows that you usually see in those battle diagrams. Here you can only do straight arrows. Okay, well, I am going to do a 5-minute break here, and then we'll get back to Leoden.
Intermission.
Intermission.
By a giant river kraken.
And when he gets attacked by the river kraken.
Frickin' river krakens.
alive. And we have also been joined by the Sparefish.
Hello, Sparefish.
Because you always need a spare.
Good evening.
So, Leodin, I will take a perception check from you.
You're being tracked by ninjas.
All right, so as Leodin's making his way back upriver after his little diversion there, it's about somewhere around 09, a couple hours after sunrise. Fog's already burned off an hour ago, and you can actually see the village up ahead. He's closing in on the bridge when he happens to spot up the hill up that way. He sees a bit of movement in the trees somewhere up the hill with a reasonable vantage point. He expects that to be probably scouts of some kind, or at least that would be his conclusion.
Can he focus in on it and try and get, numbers?
He can. You spend a bit of time zooming in, and
It's +2.
4. And he can. Yeah, he can make out that there are 2 guys, just like half covered in crouch behind trees and shit, and not the best attempt at camouflage necessarily.
What sort of range to hit?
They're at about 300 yards.
Alright, Layden's going to go after them. He's going to, if he's out in the open at the moment, he's going to disappear into a tree, block of trees, then backtrack, stealth or whatever, and make his way to them.
I'm figuring you were on the bank of the river?
Yes.
Like that way?
Alright. Then Layden will use the trees as his cover and approach their position.
How close would you like to get?
He's going to come around behind them. And he's going to get within murder, death, kill range.
Alright, you can give me stealth.
Murder, death, kill range. What exactly is that?
Jesus Christ.
Apparently,
All the world is blind to his passing.
Apparently it's when I tap them on their shoulder.
They go, hey, are you lost? And they don't hear you.
As you get closer, you can see that clearly these are some of the same mercs. They have crossbows, and they don't seem to be in a hostile posture. They are observing the town, surprising no one. And one of them may actually be asleep. And the other one is clearly not paying attention. He's like drawing something on the other guy's face.
Darn it, because then you could like kill this sleeping dude almost completely quietly if you kill him in one shot.
So the other guy is having a bit of fun drawing something on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. I'm going to assume that the one that's getting drawn on is not an officer or anything like that.
One could make such an assumption.
Because then the one doing the drawing is going to be in a lot of hurt.
No doubt. In this era, he could have him flogged.
So, Leyden is going to, approach to a good vantage point. He's going to, while he's drawing dicks on the guy's face, he's going to fire a shot into the sleeping guy's body, vitals, which ought to surprise the guy that's, drawing dicks.
Oh!
And the dude who's, was sleeping, if he doesn't straight up die, he's going to come up and stab the other guy in the neck. You bastard! That would be really funny. Please make it happen.
And then the other one, he's going to, basically get the drop on him. Another arrow ready to fire. And he'll be telling him to, drop his weapons and stuff. So that's the plan.
All right. Well, given your approach, you figure you can get as close as you bloody like. So pick your range penalty and go for it.
I don't know. He got a margin crit. Range penalty 0.
He's in the tree of them.
That would be hysterical. We're standing right next to the dude.
One moment.
Guy's like snickering and he goes, hey, this would be funny too. And the guy's like, yeah. Wait,
I
what?
said draw on him, not an arrow in him.
Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Can Leyden get 2 turns of aim?
He can get 10 turns of aim if he wants. As long as he doesn't, shoot himself in the foot. Well, if he had any chance to dodge that, he probably wouldn't have. Damage. That was shit.
To vitals, though.
It is to vitals.
And it is a bodkin.
Ah, gotcha.
I need to fix that.
Well, he wakes up. And the other guy turns around in the general direction the fletching is pointing and goes, "Oh!"
Is that a major wound?
Oh, hold on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. His eyes snap open, but he doesn't, and then he closes them right back.
Leiden will fast draw another arrow.
You notice that the guy that is staring in shock is staring at a tree next to you.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
If the guy hasn't reacted, then Leiden is going to... he's got a crossbow, right?
Yes.
He's going to
and it is not ready.
He's going to send an arrow through the arm. Now let's make it hand. Of his...
Well, he's not holding the crossbow. He was holding something that he was marking with.
Right. Okay.
Piece of charcoal.
All right. Then Laodin will step out, arrow drawn at this guy.
How many were there? Was it just the two of them?
Just the two.
Antagonese, do they speak common?
Yeah, everybody speaks common.
Damn, if I'd known that, we would have tried to interrogate those guys.
Everybody speaks common.
Laodin will say, you will live, provided you do everything I say.
This seems like a really good spot for intimidation.
Laodin doesn't have intimidation, so he'll be doing it on default with whatever bonuses.
You should definitely get the "you're willing to do damage" panel or bonus.
So it's will -5?
I think that's right.
Will -5 or acting -3. +1 to +4 for displays of bloodthirstiness, strength, or supernatural powers. +1 if you're callous. Appearance matters. +2 if you're hideous. Blah blah blah.
Appearance matters. So +1 appearance.
Yeah. No. +2 if you're hideous. +3 if you're monstrous.
Okay.
Appropriate rep mods. You get -1 for oblivious, -1 to 4 for shyness. Subtract their fearlessness from your roll. GM may assign +1 or -1 for especially appropriate or clumsy dialogue.
All right, so that's just the base roll, base default. Apply modifiers.
Okay. Is it -4?
Sorry, -5. So that's a fail by 2.
All right, run that by me again now. What were you?
The only thing he says,
command.
He says, You will survive if you do everything I say.
That's a good offer.
He says something to the effect of, "I would like to survive. What would you have of me?" In a very thick antagonese accent.
Does he have a short sword and knife belt or whatever?
He does.
Drop your sword and knife on the ground where you stand.
Drop, drop.
Now step back away from your weapons.
Step, step.
The other guy, is he a big guy?
Yeah, not especially.
He's got an arrow sticking out of his kidney.
He's definitely unconscious, but that might be survivable.
He's dead.
Not anymore.
Layden's not. He's not going to let the guy live, even though I did succeed my bloodlust. This is an intentional failure. So the guy that's on the ground, Layden, after the guy's stepped away, Layden's going to finish him off, and then prepare another arrow. Actually, he's going to withdraw the 2 arrows from the dead guy.
Think should probably have the break roll on that.
No breaks.
Lucky you. Oh, those were Bodkins too, so... Well, the first one was Bodkin.
The second was as well.
Yeah.
Layden will collect the guy's gear, and he's going to instruct him to start walking towards the town.
You notice after you pulled him out, and you look back at the guy, and he was kind of, his eyes were all shifty, like he was trying to look for a way out, and then you look back at him, he's stopped.
Remember, you live if you do everything I say.
I remember you said that.
Alright, and then I'll walk him back to town.
Alright, so... Back at the town.
We got people building fences.
You guys are maybe an hour into your plans. You've got you started gathering some materials and buckets and whatnot, and figuring out where you're going to put those things. And you look down the road to the south, and you see that Layden has a new buddy, and he's walking back.
Right. Well,
And he looks like he's been swallowed up by the earth and shat back out.
Who?
Layden, he had a bath.
Yeah, he cleaned himself, remember?
Yeah, in the rain. And
Okay, spat back out then.
Right, well, I will sort of quickly jump on Sir Magnus and ride out to find out what's going on.
You looked around to see where the horse was, and it was not present.
Right, so I'll whistle. That always works.
You look to the east
Maybe.
down the road, and you see that Magnus is returning down the road, and he has a rider.
What?
You recognize that rider is Master Walder. That rider seems frustrated to you that the horse is not doing what he said.
Oh, is this is the Reeve?
It is.
Man, that dude tried to bolt. I thought I disliked the patron. I think we're gonna have to take over this town, guys.
And as Magnus re-enters the square to meet you, he bucks the reeve off.
I sincerely hope you were not trying to steal my horse.
I was just fetching him for you, that's all.
It would be unfortunate for you if I discovered that was a mistruth.
He doesn't respond very well to commands. I think he's not very well trained.
I'm going to spring up on him easily and, make sure he sort of paws the air, and we're going to head over there. I'm not going to be using the reins, just to show the dude, he knows what the horse knows what he's doing.
Actually, as you steer the horse away from him, he tail whacks the reeve in the face.
I take it he was trying to steal you, huh? Well, that'll show him.
And Laodin arrives with his captive.
What's this, a new friend?
I wouldn't go that far.
One half of the two scouts that were up on the hill watching the town.
Well then.
He has been compliant, and I've told him that he will live if he follows instruction.
So, how many more of you are there out there?
Laodin will
Mr.
sort of...
Scout.
So Laodin will be behind the scout. Obviously at like arrow point or whatever. And Laodin will sort of wink. This is I'm full of shit. Sort of wink. And he'll say, "My lord, they have a number 100 to 200, but far fewer than the army that approaches, our army that approaches." And Laodin will be sort of winking. Just some misdirection or misinformation.
In case he gets away. Good thinking.
And how many additional scouts are out there, Mr. Prisoner? Jacques?
Just one other. Sort of. He's not really scouting anymore.
And what were your instructions, neighbor?
Observe and report. I'd like to state officially for the record that we are mercenaries on contract. We are not bandits. We are not criminals.
Is that a fact? On contract with whom?
It's not my place to know that.
But you're a good mercenary, so you know that.
No, actually, I don't have any idea.
Well then, I guess if there's no proof of that, then it's entirely up to the Arl to determine whether you're telling the truth or not, or whether you are just a bandit. He doesn't like bandits.
We know that.
Certainly act like them. Wouldn't take much to convince the Arl that you are, in fact, a bandit. Besides, isn't there some good money in bandits? Or, dead bandits?
How soon are the rest coming? And in what numbers?
He says that he was not present at any discussion of the repercussions. We were sent to scout and report back.
I think we should throw him in the pen with the rest of the bandits.
Come along,
Since they can prove no, they can offer no proof that they're straight up, mercenaries.
Yeah, I don't know how they would.
Come meet with your other bandit friends.
Oh man, he's gonna get in there, and they're gonna be, most of them are like all jacked up, it's like broken legs, and
he will exclaim in antagonese.
One actually probably has the arm. Probably had to be removed from the guy with the arm.
Well, I suspect some of them, at least one or two of them probably are dead.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm thinking they may not be.
Then
I think all of them may. I think all of them may have lived, except for the ones that made it to the river.
That's good news. They are all asked for live bandits, and we're going to be giving him at least 12. This guy's just lucky, he's not broken. I have to make sure that the guards are aware that this guy is the biggest threat, since he is the least injured. And then we'll have to get the report from Leodin. Go, wow, that's a lot of dudes. We need to make sure not to spread all that around, especially not around the reef.
Alright, so you deposit the new guy with the others.
Inside, bandit.
As soon as Leodin gets the opportunity to debrief, he will do so with our group present only.
You gonna wake people up?
Yeah, some people are crashed. Let me go get well and make sure he's awake.
If they're sleeping, it doesn't matter. Let them sleep. Just those that are awake. I'm sure when they finally wake, then they'll be informed. Leodin will say, I followed them into the night. They move surprisingly quick for mercenaries. They have a camp of some 100 to 200 men. These are trained and organized soldiers, not mere bandits. Unfortunately, I lost my bearings during the night and I cannot pinpoint where their camp is. But if we have a map, I assume we have our sort of travel map. Leodin will say, we'll sort of draw a circle in an area. Their camp is in this area here. I should be able to find it again. I can retrace my steps.
Aiden had the map, but I will let you know that the map covered Generica, and what you are realizing at this point is that the other side of the river is Antigonia.
Oh, great. We're in a border war, guys. That's awesome.
Oops.
We're getting peanut butter in our chocolate.
Well, if we are in a border war, Leodin will also add, I have some cleanup to do. Assuming that Leodin shot the guy on the other side of the border, right?
Yeah, he did.
So you can go over there and bring him back?
Yeah.
quick question. The dude who was at, I guess you said it was Farmville. The guy the old, was it Bones?
Yeah.
Did he give us an estimate of how much time elapsed from the first time in the reprisal raid?
He will have said that was the next night.
So if they're going to hit us, it's going to be tonight.
That would be a reasonable conclusion.
Yeah, that's not going to end badly at all. Let's see. So it is fairly early in the morning. How far is the Arl from here?
It took you the better part of the day before. Now that was standard hiking type walking.
Right.
If you were, for example, on horseback, you might be able to make that in an hour or a couple of hours, depending on how hard you push the horse. And of course, obviously, it's a little over 20 miles, so you know that you can run a marathon in a couple of hours. So theoretically, you could actually run that. But you would suck at the end of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be very good at it. No, I'm just wondering if we want to, if we think it might be a good idea to send, additional alert to the Arl, letting him know, hey, we may have like 100 guys coming in. And also, your Reeve is got a spine made of jello.
Maybe he's in on it. Maybe he's a traitor.
Traitor!
Is Sir Magnus the only horse in this village?
They do have some horses around, but they are draft animals.
Okay.
Leyden will borrow one of those draft animals to recover the body.
Yeah, they'll injure the horse for that. In fact, they'll go with you, or they will want to go with you.
And then Leyden will make good with concealing the site and covering any sort of evidence that they were there.
Very well.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Should we, send word on to the frickin' Arl again? Because 100 guys maybe is going to be, whew. Or are we doing the screw that? We're big damned heroes. We can take it for the first time until this poor village gets burned to the ground.
Well,
I say we send to the Arl.
Are border wars with Antagonese a thing, or is it only ever raids, or is it a peaceful situation and these mercenaries are operating sort of their own accord? What's the relationship between Antagonese and here?
We're England, they're France.
Yeah, Reyna has a specific life experience with that sort of thing, and it's actually not that weird for a bunch of Antagonese soldiers, or even generic soldiers, to go the other direction and chevaucher across the border and loot and pillage a little bit and come back. There's sort of a Cold War state between Generica and Antagonia.
It's like
pretty much perpetual.
Would sending 100 mercenaries across the border to destroy a village escalate the Cold War to open war?
If they were looking for a cause for war, that would be one. And if they were not looking for a cause for war, then they could ignore it. It's hard to say.
Side of the Warhawks, they're all going to go, yeah, war. See, these adventurers discovered it and saved the day.
Now, Kenrick's experience as a soldier would tell him that use of mercenaries like this obviously gives you a plausible deniability.
Right. Something I did mean to ask is to Gladden if he saw any flags there in the camp.
I did see flags, but it was too dark to make out banners.
Yeah, do these they don't have anything. All of their clothes and such are intended for discretion, right?
Yeah, there's no particular uniform there.
So congratulations, guys, you are bandits.
They will argue otherwise, successfully or not, if given the opportunity.
Well, that depends.
Not that they're arguing right now.
Yeah, so it's possible we could send further word to the Arl about this, in which case it'd probably have to be me on the horse.
Leiden's recommendation, however, is if they came in mass, then they are trained soldiers, and this is just a town of farmers. It would be a lost fight. We should evacuate the town if they move on the town. Perhaps we can get some information out of our spies or our captives. What their plans are.
Give it a try. So the exact description of our the official quest thing, the contract, whatever, was to deal with bandits, right?
They were assumed to be bandits in the contract. Technically, they are behaving in a bandit role, so that still counts. I believe there was an allowance if it's too big for you.
Seems like it is to me.
Well,
on the other hand,
would we expect them to send the full force to retaliate?
That's true. It occurs to me that they don't really know who held, because it was dark and we could barely see, and so they could barely see, and none of them got away. So why would you send the full force? You should send, I don't know, 20 or 30, and if those guys don't come back, then you go, oh crap, something's going on.
Well, that's what the scouts would have reported.
But
and if
they're
the
not
scouts fall off the planet,
yes, it is true. They have zero intel. Actually, that's not 0. It's going to be like very little intel.
Oh.
Well,
Right now their intel is 12 guys didn't return, plus 2 scouts, 14 guys.
The guys that were across the river couldn't see what was going on, but they could probably tell that there was a fight and that their guys didn't return. And that's about all they know.
This is true, so they're likely not thinking, oh, there's PCs there. So I'm totally thinking we should be dumb and stupid and basically first level and say, yeah, we can hold this here until we realize we can't.
Well, and really, I would probably be dumb and say, hey, you know, I think we can at least hold out, and if it gets too much, we bolt to Farmville.
Plus, we did send the kid, and so if nothing else, the Arl is going to be aware that these are not bandits; these are mercenaries. So, if he's even remotely competent, he will likely at least send a couple guys to investigate. Of course, if he sends those couple guys and they get here and the village is burning to the ground, well, that was the elf's fault. We know it can't be Dustin's fault because he doesn't cast fire stuff. Does Getwell cast any fire stuff?
Yeah, I can light my light weapons on fire.
So it's Getwell's fault.
Oh. Well, that didn't work.
No! Yeah, so let's hold. Prepare for the siege, kick some butt, and hope that we don't end up biting off a whole lot more than we can chew. Because that never happens to PCs, does it?
All right, well, you spend a little time strategizing. It's now 10-ish.
Sir Kendrick, if you do not need me, I will take my leave and sleep.
Right, get some rest. Good job.
Yeah, Dustin and Aiden are over there.
And damn it, why is Getwell over there too?
Leiden is going to find somewhere quiet.
So not next to Getwell.
No.
Yeah, he says, and Dustin and Aiden are over there, and Laden goes the other direction.
Right, so continue. I guess it's at least Kenrick and Murdoch and maybe Raina, who may just be out playing soccer with the kids, are going to continue erecting defenses. Or assisting, anyway.
All right, back to the stakes and the barricades.
Yep.
All right, so
A brief question. Who was the guy who was using the kid as the crutch?
Elder.
Eldred?
Elder.
Elder. As in he's an elder. Okay, well, I'm going to try, he's the dude that we sort of looked at and said, yeah, he's been through some crap.
He is.
Clearly, he's the guy who should be the Reeve. So at some point, fairly soon after Leodin reports, I am going to try to track dude down and relate this stuff because from what Kenrick has seen of the Reeve, he does not have a high opinion of the man's, let's call it intestinal fortitude.
You did get that impression.
So he doesn't want to tell him and then see the guy go, ah, and run away.
All right. Well, he's not that hard to find.
So yeah, I'm just gonna basically let him know what we're potentially looking at. Maybe mention offhand that the Reeve may have tried to abscond with my horse.
This will not surprise him.
That didn't work though, because good old Sir Magnus is, well, he's a character. And you look over there, and he's totally playing soccer with Raina and the kids.
Nope, he's doing something else.
Right, yeah, he's keeping an eye on that antagonist guy for me.
Yeah, Elder, at the mention of the potential of fleeing the town, he will say that it's going to take quite a while to gather everybody up if it comes to that, and we're probably not going to get very far. So I don't know how helpful flight will actually be in this case, depending on how persistent the enemy is.
Indeed, which is why we're going to hold and kick their butts. They have minimal intelligence at this point.
And he would agree that, yeah, surprise is probably the only thing we have.
Excellent. Well, we did send Martha the Swift to your crutch to Theoro. So may get some assistance from that direction.
Boy, I don't know what I would do without that kid. Surely hope nothing happens.
He's much too fast. Now I'm kind of hoping nothing happened to him. That'd be terrible. We like the kid.
All right, well, anything else for Elder?
Other than maybe trying to get a grasp of who is the most useful of the villagers that are still here, from a combatant perspective, since I obviously can't trust what the Reeve has in mind. But I'm not trying to talk down the Reeve in front of this guy. I'm a nice guy. I just don't really have a lot of faith in that dude.
All right, well, yeah, he'll be happy to help out. So he'll grab his spare crutch, the one that doesn't run on its own.
Oh, I was totally hoping it was another kid, one that was like slightly smaller.
And
spare.
This is spare.
And he'll head out into the square and start pointing out houses and that sort of thing. Says, yeah, over here, that chick's pretty feisty. She might be helpful. And there's that old guy over there. He can't see too well. I don't know if he's going to be much help. And yeah, we got a bunch of kids, and some of the older ones might be good. That's probably about as good as we can get.
Well, we clearly need to turn Elder into, like, basically the drill sergeant. Relying on you.
I don't know if I'm all that. I mean, nobody ever listens to me.
Definitely not a drill sergeant.
Right, so in that case, we need to have Murdoch standing in for the drill sergeant with this guy. He goes, that dude there, and Murdoch goes, you!
Yep, substitute intimidation for any other skill.
That's your barbarian spell list. Yeah, we got a whole thing on that. Long story.
Knock, smash.
All right. Yeah, as you're sort of wrapping up there with Elder a bit, and you hear a sort of a weak male scream. I don't know if you want to call it scream. Pained from the barn where the prisoners are being held.
Well, head over that direction.
And you see out the side where the guy that Leodin's buddy, he was apparently trying to dig out from under the side of the building, and Magnus has caught him by the scruff of the neck and is sort of pulling his back into the wall, pinning him.
Well, friend, you seem to be in a bad way here. I believe my friend Leodin said something about you cooperating.
This was clearly a mistake.
Let's see here. You know what? He is perfectly able. I'm going to grab him and take him out there and put him to work with lifting this big thing and digging that hole.
There you go.
Can't do that with the guys with broken legs and missing arms and stuff, but this guy, he's perfectly fine.
Yeah, some of them are in better shape than others.
Get over there and tell him, I need you to dig a grave. Why?
Why?
I don't know.
No, a guy over there just died. Yeah, that's it. You need a chain gang now.
That's right. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna ask somebody, do we have chains here? We need to make a chain gang for him. I don't know, how messed up are those people? I mean, are there others that could actually be impressed into action here?
The guy that got shot in the foot actually didn't do that much damage. He didn't actually cripple his foot, so he could probably be patched up and be ambulatory. He's not going to run real fast. You got two of them with compound fractures to the leg.
Yeah, they're not going to go nowhere.
Got at least two of them with arms that were almost off.
They could sharpen
the
stakes for us.
The two that I hit them in the chest with a frickin' warhammer. So
yeah,
they've got broken wrists, broken ribs and stuff.
One of them's got a crap ton of broken ribs. He's not going to be much help. The other one's got a spiral fracture of the collarbone.
Ow! We're kind of mean.
One guy shot through the throat. I think another guy got shot in the ribs by Murdoch. So yeah, they're not in good shape. But there's at least one more that could probably be useful.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. At least grab him. Presumably he's gonna have been at least bound up, and I'm gonna grab that feisty lady that Elder mentioned, and basically have her watching over them with the pitchfork. And hopefully, she's like really pissed off at these guys. So. She won't be the only one. There'll be others keeping an eye on these guys as we put them to work.
Yeah. Well, right now you've got all these barricade points indicated, and you've got townies working, putting stakes in over there and digging ditches and stuff. So there's plenty of eyes.
We'll find the spot that needs them the most and do that, and then I'll also ask Sir Magnus to keep an eye on them. Thanks.
Good job.
That's right. We have captured them and put them to work. Wait, does that mean we turned them into slaves?
Yeah. Slavery is kind of fluid here.
Someone say fluid?
It's a work release program. Work, and the Arl will release you. Although I don't say where he's going to release you, and it's probably going to be on a gallows, but...
Alright, anybody doing anything in particular, except for the sleepy ones, for the rest of the day, barring interruption?
No.
Laodin has a hammock set up somewhere in the trees, probably, and
he'll be chilling.
Dustin and Aiden are down. You might be down if you're not paying attention.
No, he ended up finding some old guys who were smoking pipes and crap and mooched off of them.
And Raina's been working the crowd, helping out and playing with the kids a bit, and she's at least identified the ones that are going to be the most help and the least help, and formed the bucket brigade with the rest of them. So they got their positions, and they're practicing their buckets. And she can give me an admin role to see how well she's helping out with the organization. She's starting to slip back into the old ways.
Not good at all.
She didn't wow anybody with her administrative skills, but yeah, she's remembering what it was like. All right, so nobody's doing really anything of special interest. So
just the stuff, checking in with the various people as appropriate.
I'm going to take a quick bio and come back and move on to the next thing.
Righto.
They're totally going to show up. It's 500 guys. We're all going to die. It's going to be terrible.
You might die, not me.
Nope, sorry. The elf dies first. It's terrible.
That is indeed a very sad story.
You're the bartender. Oh no, the bartender gets it worse.
I'm far too pretty to die.
Wow, that is pretty cool. I just saw the thing that you posted there, Brian, for the intro. That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll look nice when it's finished.
But you'll be right about when Daniel's done.
Yep.
That's all right. As long as it's there for the archive.
Right.
And it'll be there for the next round.
Okay, the sleepy people. Do you have somebody come wake you up at a certain time, or are you just going to sleep until you naturally wake up?
I intended to sleep until I naturally wake up for the purposes of resetting my fatigue.
Laodin will sleep until he wakes.
Now, in Laodin's case, there's a lot of noise from people working here and there in the village. So, if he wants a quiet spot...
That's why he went for a quiet spot.
So, he's outside the village. Actually, go ahead and mark roughly where he might be.
Dustin lives over a pub, so he doesn't care about the noise.
There needs
Let's
to be
see.
like a sort of thing like light sleeper, but it works the opposite, where it's like you can't go to sleep if it's too quiet.
Oh. Well, that's kind of what I was thinking about before. If he sleeps at an inn or something like that, he's probably all the noises are all wrong.
Lairden will set himself up over there and chill.
Alright.
He's Netflixing and chilling.
Just barely. So he's choosing comfort and...
Oh. Right.
Comfort and, what is it? Concealment.
But not sightlines.
No, because he doesn't need to see when he's sleeping.
He hopes.
When I wake up, the whole town's been burnt and everyone's dead.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what happened?
Check my sundial. I didn't sleep that long.
That needs to be something you can buy. The impossible trope wrist sundial.
Oh. It's probably in something. Is it something? I would be surprised if you couldn't get something like that in Dungeon Fantasy specifically. But if not, maybe in one of the fantasy tech books.
But it shouldn't be in any tech book because it's not technically possible.
Well, that's I mean the fantasy tech.
Or just trope.
No, there's
just because it's Clichéa.
Trying to think of what the hell is the name of that book? Is it fantasy tech?
Yeah.
Is that right? Looks like rain. Oh, I kept meaning to ask, is tonight Mook's game?
It is. So in
so
1
I
hour
want to try to
exactly.
wrap it. Alright, so we need to get on with it then. Okay. Alright, well. So work continues for a while, and spirits dip to some degree. At some point the patron sermon's out there helping too, with the stakes and everything, and he's like, why are we doing this? This is pointless. They're just going to come in and slaughter us anyway. And so some of the people are a little bit grumbly and stuff.
We've sent word to the Arl, my friend.
I will attempt to bolster spirits with a public speaking over top of Mr. Sad Pants over here.
If you'd like to make a roll, I will accept such a thing and make use of it.
I keep doing that. First one.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was a pretty good speech. What was it about?
Taking heart and, good works and, the Arl is coming and
Gods will provide.
And he also totally needs to have included some sort of, story about, Saint Victus, the patron of warriors, who, held against much greater odds, and it's arousing, awesome, right?
And we know that they're just lowly. Well, does anyone else know they're mercenaries?
Yeah, they know they're not goblins. You can totally.
Yeah, by this point, everybody knows that part.
Yep. So a small
just
bandit
lowly
force.
bandits.
Yep, lowly bandits. I mean, look how easily we took, a small band of even us took a force of twice our number. And now we have time to prepare.
All right, well, around 1600 or so is about the time when Dustin starts to come around, and he starts getting up and about.
Great.
Also, Aiden.
Feeling refreshed.
How did this wall get here?
You guys fill everybody in, and Aiden's like, oh yeah, so we got another one. All right, I'll make a note of that. Oh, and the body. So we got 2 more. So he has been keeping track. And hour and a half after that, around 17:30, you guys get a call from whoever's in the church tower, keeping watch, that riders are approaching from the north.
That's not good.
And the lookout calls out blue banners, blue and gold.
Which could be...
Why, yes, Kenrick does remember that Breadwell's colors are in fact blue and gold.
Right, well...
as are a lot of them, but specifically irrelevant.
Well, I guess... How many riders are there?
Well, the best count is a dozen or so. Not a lot, but... And you can see out past the trees, up the north road, round the hill they come, and yeah, they're all, as they approach, you can see that they are in fact flying the Breadwell's banner.
Yeah. Breadwell is that the that's not the Arl, is it?
That is the Arl.
Okay. Right. Well, still.
Now his troops. You also
ride to meet them.
You know that all his troops will basically ride under his banner, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's him.
Yeah, I know. I was just trying to. I can remember.
For the record. Okay, so you're gonna ride out and meet him? No, it is not.
Right. Well, just in case that's somebody else pretending to be him, or beat him. Yes.
And of course, the townies are all at Twitter. And as you guys are running out to the north to meet, and you will see that there are in fact about a dozen men-at-arms and a handful of other folk.
We probably need to take some of the locals just in case they can identify it. Well, I guess the Reeve, because he should.
Okay.
Speak for the,
you bring him with him.
The village.
And so as you get closer, he and Patron Sermon's also there, and the Reeve decides that that is Lord Vicar of Churchbury, the Arl's Marshal. And when he says that, Patron Sermon crosses himself and says, "St. Pacifus, give me strength," and then goes back to the church immediately.
Well, that was odd.
Reeves says he really doesn't like him.
Okay.
It's because one's probably a warmonger and the other one's, well, a silly pacifist.
Marthin the Swift has done well.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
And you see the men at the head of the troops. He is very clearly status 4 and wearing the beanie of a vicar, and he's very handsome and very not stiff. You know, he's not got that noble stick up his ass, apparently.
Right. Well, 4.
And he greets everyone.
Grace?
That would be eminence in this case.
Your eminence?
Or lordship is actually, both of them are appropriate in this case.
Well,
But
probably open with
whatever.
eminence and then use my lord thereafter.
Sir Knight. And my lady. And he gives Raina a how you doing wink.
Oh, God.
Says, I greet you in the name of the Earl of Northumberland.
So he rides past the outstretched hands while the
Uh-huh.
of the knight and the mayor and goes straight to Raina. Classic.
So you guys are well attended. You are the Heroes Guild, yes? I figured there'd be more of you. But whatever.
Keep hearing that.
Yes, I am the Earl sent a rider earlier and said you guys were about to be assaulted, and I'm here to take over the operation.
I love this
Outstanding.
guy.
Unfortunately, the bulk
It's
of
too
the
bad he
troops
died.
are
I really like it.
the bulk of the troops are up the road, still heading here. They probably won't be here till tomorrow. But we got my retinue here. I think together we should probably be able to hold them off at least. And with the Earl said he was sending a few of his personal guard, which I don't see here. Where are they?
Well, they have not yet arrived, my lord.
That's unusual. Well, okay. I hope that's not a bad sign.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah. So he starts as he's riding into town with you guys, and he's looking at your defenses. Okay, you got barricades over here. Well, that's something that could work. All right. That'll be helpful. And
He's totally gonna see those the dudes that are shackled and working. 2 of our bandits, my lord.
Indeed, we shall have to have some words with those guys.
Well, there's a more in that barn over yonder.
Prisoners. Yes, he said something about prisoners. I think he was sending a wagon or something. Yeah, so he says, yeah, he expects the main force of the enemy to cross the Pale, probably up at Farmville, and move south. But he also expects that they're probably not going to send the entire force, although we don't know how many they actually have, but I don't expect they're going to send everyone.
Our scout did locate their camp, my lord, and indicated they had upwards of 100 men present.
Where was that?
Over on the Antigonian side of the river, sir.
Oh. Well, that might complicate matters.
Appear to be Antigonians.
Well, that's been the case with the few that we've managed to capture, but unfortunately, a lot of bandits are. It's not unusual to find Antigonians across the border, just not in mass. Yes, this is definitely something different. We're starting to be able to piece the stories together, and I'm figuring that this particular group is responsible for a number of attacks on different villages. Let's see. Yeah, so he's kind of expecting that they're gonna come from Farmville because it'd be way too far to cross at the south, and they're definitely not gonna try to press their entire force across this bridge here. But he does expect that they might try a flanking maneuver across the bridge, so we're probably going to have to keep an eye on that. You guys notice as you're talking to him that Aiden is with you, and he doesn't have a happy look on his face. He doesn't seem to like this guy either.
Aww. Shows what he knows. I'd like to get a sense of what the weather is going to be tonight.
You figure it's probably going to be a little bit more of the same. It could rain, but maybe not. It's probably slacking off a bit, though. You've seen the sun poke out here and there today, which is more than you've seen for the last week. So, okay. The light is at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the bad weather.
But the forecast is it might rain and it might not. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
So you got a 50% chance to rain. Maybe it'll rain, maybe it won't.
You would probably guess that if it rains, it's probably going to be in the middle of the night, kind of like it did last night.
Yeah, that's not so useful tactically, so I'll keep it under my hat.
So he asked to be introduced to everybody. And
introduce them around.
And he's looking at Reyna when he's asking to be introduced to everybody. Whether or not you start with Reyna.
Of course we're going to start with Reyna.
Which is really funny because she's totally got like a tuft of hair that's kind of like sticking up, and like her outfit is smudged from where she'd been playing soccer with the kids earlier.
And you introduce brother make you get well.
Indeed.
At which point he says, "Oh, get well, huh? Yeah, Brother Recall, you know a get well, don't you? He's isn't that the abbot at St. Medica's?" It's like so this old guy comes up. He's clearly a friar of some kind, monk, and says, "Yeah, I knew him back about 20 years ago or so."
That's not an old.
Who is this? This is a get well. Said your name. Said your name was what? Make you?
I, sir. Father, whatever.
And well, it is still brother in this case. He's not a priest. But and at that revelation, he says, "By the gods, I can't believe it's you. You know, I held you in my arms the day you were born, and I handed you off to Mosley."
Well, this is an auspicious day.
Yes, your mother was at the abbey because she had a troubled birth, and afterward she had to stay for a week for medical purposes, and then when she was ready to leave, she took off. she left a sizable donation. It was always weird because it was a very specific number. It's 647 crowns. And she said it was hush money from the boy's father.
Whoa.
But she wanted to see to his future.
And he'll comment, that it's like, it seems odd that, it's not necessarily the story that he was given, but, not want to tie up his time at the moment, but definitely would like to sit down and speak about this, as I have little knowledge or memory of.
Let's see. So yeah, if you get aside with him a little bit later and discuss it further, he will tell you that he does know your mother's name was Ennis. Which incidentally is another English version of Agnes, which means chastity in Greek.
Wow, clearly your dad was a dick. Oh, wait.
So yeah, once you guys get settled in, oh, by the way, the vicar's name is Romeo.
Of course it is.
And
no, it
and
isn't.
he
Your
as
Grace, or, my lord.
Eminence or my lord. And
or dad.
Whatever. Or dude. And he does, as he said, he kind of takes over the operation. And you get the impression that, yeah, this guy does know his shit about military matters. And, one of the first things he says, all right, let's get to cracking some skulls. And the townies are kind of happy to see him here.
Can't blame him.
And he's still a little bugged that the Arlesmen haven't shown up. And a little bit later, he'll take the Heroes Guild folk aside and say, "All right, I'm gonna want you guys to hold the bridge. If they make a flanking maneuver, hold them off and throw a signal, so we know that we need to redirect."
None shall pass.
This is going to be awesome.
And as the sun begins to lower in the west, whoever's on watch in the tower calls out that there are troops approaching down the road. And everybody gets ready.
I guess we should get to the bridge then.
Indeed. Presumably, we have woken Leodin by this point.
Presumably.
Gonna be.
You should probably figure a signal of some kind.
Wake up.
Can Leodin do one of those whistling arrows?
Well, if they're in a fight, they may not hear that.
Which is why, damn it, I need to get a war horn.
Again with the horn.
I know, right?
Someone say horn?
A flaming arrow launched into the sky. That tends to get people's attention.
Yeah, these guys use flaming arrows, though.
I'm going to check with Elder and see if, since he's been through some crap, if he happens to have a battered war horn I can borrow for signal purposes.
Ooh, spin the plot point.
There should be a whistle that was spat out from a guy that
Oh yeah.
Took an arrow in the throat.
They're using. These guys are potentially using whistles.
That's gonna be that's gonna be too far away to hear in a fight like that. You go to Elder.
Too far from the bridge.
What about
Are you?
Would the war horn be too far away? I mean, would it be too far away for the war horn?
Oh, it's not that far.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, horn should be good.
See if by any chance he has an old battered war horn from his old fighting days.
Are you actually going to plot point? Are you actually going to plot point that?
I think you should, because there's actually a small chance.
Actually, this is Generica, and we are big damn heroes. Leodin's going to practice aiming at the church bell.
That would be kind of a really tough shot.
How far would that be?
Yeah, but he could plot point that shot, too.
I think that's going to be a max range for that bow. Because I think I had it another 100 yards south of the town.
So 325 yards is the max range.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's going to be close.
I can actually afford a horn. Can I have bought a horn?
Well, if you spin the plot point, you got the horn, whether it was the one you bought or the one that somebody else gave you.
Right. Well, I'm gonna borrow Elder's just for to make sure that he's an important part of this fight, and then later I may end up keeping it if that's appropriate, or getting.
He may give it to you.
Right.
Yeah. So you go over to Elder and ask about the horn, and he says, "Well, it just so happens that back in my days, I was the horn blower." And I still have that thing.
Real name is Matt Cawthon. This is the Horn of Valair. The grave is no bar to my call. Oh, never mind.
This was his father's father's horn, blown back at the Black Army days.
Okay, so I'm sure the character knows what that means, but
that was just the last big battle thing, the last real war.
So in that case,
with Antigonia.
Whoa.
That was not with Antigonia. That was with the Overlord.
Oh, okay.
Leodin will snicker. You blew the Black Army?
That's not what I said.
Ooh, thunder.
We'll laugh at that as well.
One at a time.
And
some endurance.
Clearly, Elder is still a little worried about the fact that Martha hasn't shown back up.
Well, based on this spell, he would not have accompanied. I'm going to let him know that the Arl probably would not have brought him back because the kid would have just passed out after that spell. And wow, that rain is really coming down now.
Yep, it's about time to wrap it. So, long story short, the army before you is probably about 50. So significant. Fewer than your total townies, but your townies aren't worth a whole lot as an fighting unit. But not impossible if you have a good day.
How many yards wide is that bridge?
Well, just for reminder's sake.
Think about planning for next week.
Just barricade the bridge. Fill it up with stuff.
I would say it's probably 3 yards wide.
3 wide.
Ish. Thereabout. Yeah, it's going to be enough for a horse to pass both ways. Thereabout. Yeah. So, and you guys are taking up your positions at the bridge, wherever you end up taking up your positions, and then you hear the horns of the battle beginning. And as you hear the horns, you look up into the sun just lowering, and peeking out from under the sun, you see troops, probably 10 or 20-ish troops moving stealthily through the forest toward the bridge.
Huh. All I see is dead men walking.
Awesome.
And with that.
And scene.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be a wrap on tonight. We will have 1 point each.
Thank you.
And do we have any questions?
Not yet. Is there any chance you can end up putting the planned tactical map on the boards early, so we can at least glance over it, maybe formulate some tactical ideas?
I can do that.
Awesome.
And I was going to give some time to the people on the stream in chat if they were wanting to ask questions or give suggestions about what to do next.
Oh, good idea.
I will go ahead and make that offer at this point, but we got to wrap it here pretty quick, so be fast.
You don't have to wrap it too quick.
Well, it's kind of stormy outside, so I'm halfway expecting to lose power at any time just because.
While they're thinking about that, I have a question.
Shoot.
On the discrepancy between the skills that are listed for Dustin in the export on the forum and what came up in the GCA file, do you want me to spend my points to fill out those skills? Because I'm not sure what got bought when they were dropped. But the GCA file was 150 even and did not include symbol drawing, spear, and I think something else.
Did it not?
Nope.
I guess you added those afterward? Did you add those?
No, you did the whole thing. And then I imported the GCA file and spent my 5 points on additional spells.
Right. And you say the you put on the forums what the discrepancies were, I think.
The ones I noticed, I think there's one more. It's 2 skills that are missing, spear and symbol drawing. But I've got 4 points now, and it was only 1 point in each, it looked like, on the export, so I could just pick those up, no big deal.
Well, let me check the GCA and make sure that you actually got the right one. Maybe you got an earlier version and it was cached or something.
Okay.
So I'll check that and see if they're on there. If they're on there, I'll have you re-download it and just make sure it's all straight. Otherwise, yeah, you can go ahead and spend those.
Sounds good.
Anybody on Twitch got anything to add?
Bruno has said, I believe that anyone who can suck things up would be the most active players. As a spectator, I am satisfied with what I see.
Cool.
Well, thanks.
Indeed.
Thanks for watching, Bruno and Brasilia.
And see you next time then.
Next week, guys.
Awesome.
Good night.
Good
okay,
night.
cool beans.
Alright, I'm ending the stream now.